Turning now to your community focus.
Here's the bottom line. The budget I'll put forward this week will continue providing economic relief for Rhode Island families.
Fresh off his State of the State address last night, Governor Dan McKee laying out his priorities and giving us a look ahead at the budget that he'll be unveiling tomorrow. He joins us now live in studio. Great to have you here, Governor.
Well, thanks for the invite, Kim.
So I wanted to talk to you about the news that you made this morning, appointing a familiar face to be the next housing secretary. We'll get to that in just a few minutes, but I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things you said last night. First of all, your proposal to cut taxes, the state sales tax. You want to cut it to 6.85%. Do you see this being a multi-year approach to getting it down to maybe where Massachusetts is, 6.25?
Yeah, fiscal responsibility is really important in budgets, so I want to make sure that budgets are balanced, and I know that we presented to the General Assembly on tomorrow, right, that is going to be balanced. And so yeah, an incremental strategy down. Every year you can kind of take a new look at it. We love surpluses. We want to keep surpluses going. That's going to give us a lot more flexibility going forward. And the goal is to, in all respects, to be really making sure that we're competitive with our bordering states, Connecticut and Massachusetts, on all levels, in particular the things that have to do with overall household expenses, but also in terms of the business, a business perspective as well.
Is the ultimate goal with the sales tax to get it down to 6.25, or would you like to see it ultimately go lower?
Well, I think as low as we can provide it down in terms of, in terms of making sure we're managing the budget. Remember, this is first step is about a $35 million tax savings to the people who live in the state, but it also is a $35 million challenge in the budget, because that's $35 million of revenue you're not going to get. We estimate to get to Massachusetts levels, it will save taxpayers about $173 million. But also we got to make sure that we budget it incrementally, and I think that we can get there. Very similar to what they did with the car tax, as we finish the car tax.
So that would be what, about a 5-year approach then, you think?
Yeah, I'm looking at obviously 4 years at the moment.
Sure.
but I think that the pace will get us to a 6.5, which will certainly help us position ourselves on business friendliness nationally, and also making sure that we provide tax relief where we can do it.
I know your budget is coming out tomorrow, but people are already asking. On the campaign trail, you suggested wanting to help out retirees whose COLAs have been frozen now for a decade. Will we see that reflected in your proposal?
Not in the budget, but we hope that we're going to open up conversations on that. I've talked to Treasurer, in terms of where they are in managing that. I do think that we should take a real close look at re-looking that in terms of the 80%, and then also the years out. It's very difficult on people who are not having Social Security benefits, and it's very difficult for them to manage. So I think that we should really take a real close look at it, and I have some ideas that we'll propose to the Speaker and the General Assembly how they can actually do that. Remember, we did $63 million payment on the pension payment that was promised or owed to since the banking crisis. We settled that up last year. It did save about $6 million a year, and it might be a good way to kind of step into helping out some of the people who are really struggling.
I want to get back to the news of the day. You appointed former Commerce Secretary Stephen Pryor to succeed former Housing Secretary Josh Saul just this morning. What benchmarks are you going to put into place to make sure that Pryor achieves all the goals that you'd like to see done?
Well, first, it's really good that that we have Stephen stepping forward. I've been talking to him for the last few months, and former Secretary of Commerce, and did a really good job there. Hannah Moore, who is going to be coming in, as a top person in that effort, has really shown to me and proven to me that she can deliver results. So that's a good team. So we're very happy about that. And what we're going to do is we're going to set certain goals. As I said last night, I don't really believe there's any community in the state of Rhode Island that does not want to do its part to get to this 10% level that has been aspirational for too many years.
I want to ask you about the Cannabis Control Commission. You said you would name picks for the commission this month, and just so folks at home know, that commission is going to dole out more than 30 licenses for retail marijuana vendors. Have you made your picks, and if so, when are you going to announce them publicly?
So we've been meeting with the Senate President, we've got names from the House Speaker, right, and we're reviewing them, and then we'll get something to the to the Senate, for their consent before the end of the month, and we're making progress on that. No names yet, but we're making progress. It's an important piece. It's another startup strategy, just like the housing department that we'll be opening up, brand new. We want to make sure we do it right, and we want to make sure that we're good with the businesses, make sure we follow through on the legislation that was passed last year, and make sure there's oversight to make sure that we do everything in the best interest of the people in the state of Rhode Island.
Got about 30 seconds left. You hinted at this when I asked you about the COLAs. Anything else that maybe you would do through legislation that you wouldn't put into your budget tomorrow?
I can't really think of anything. We tried to put a small business package in this year. Again, I think that's going to be very helpful. Some of the things that we've done in education, really important. The jobs and raising incomes are really, really important. So I think that we're looking at nothing in particular right now, Kim. I think that we've incorporated most of the things that we think are really important in the budget, and we're hopeful that the General Assembly feels the same way.
And Governor, before I let you go, perhaps your biggest undertaking this year is going to be becoming a grandfather.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Well, I helped put the crib together with my son Matt while Laura was at one of the showers that's been out there. But yes, very excited. My wife Susan and I, Susan were there last night, recognized her on the litter program. I think that that's really a key piece for us. Litter-free, ri.gov. Ask people to go there, take the pledge. Those are the things that are really important, including making sure we repair all the potholes in the state as well. We're going to put money towards that
for
too.
sure. All right, Governor Dan McKee, that's all the time we have. Thanks so much for being here.
All right, thanks, Kim. Thank you very much.